Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show on ET now. Well, we spoke about investing and moving your investments to your smartphone, but now it's time to move the saving aspect. Okay, welcome back. You're watching The Money Show on ET now. We spoke about investing via smartphones. Now it's time to understand savings and borrowing from smartphones. I'm talking about conducting banking transactions. Yes, during the COVID-19 crisis, most of us did have no option but to conduct our transactions online. But now I think 2021 is a great time to move all your transactions online. So to talk about that and more, I have with me Sudipta Roy, Head of Unsecured Lending for Cards and Payments with ICICI Bank. Sudipta, thank you so much for taking our time today on ET now. So to start with, we have a very traditional attitude when it comes to banking. A whole host of Indians still find it very reassuring to walk to the bank to conduct, even the most basic of transactions or procure the most basic of services, face to face. Why do you think that walk to the bank is no longer required? We anyway are seeing a large part of the new customers being millennials. What sort of a trend do you observe with them?
See, the generation that you talked about, millennial generation or Gen Z, is obviously a hyper-digital generation. And the fact is that anything and everything that they do is digital. And the fact is that it is not only in terms of they're doing the other stuff of their life, like ordering for a cab or ordering for food, that they're doing digital, but they're also preferring to do their personal finances also quite digitally. What we embarked upon about 18 months back was a very detailed study of the usage, attitudes, and behaviors of the millennial and the Gen Z generation towards digital banking, primarily towards personal finance. And one of the things that, that came out very strongly in that particular survey, which we did in many towns and cities across India, was that, yes, we are digital, we like to do things digital, but one also important factor came out is that at sometimes, you would like also the comfort of a physical space as well. It is not that they're 100% entirely digital. They're primarily digital, but there is sometimes there can be sometimes the need for a physical space. And one of the sort of ideas that we got through this particular study is that millennials as well as Gen Z tend to look at from the lens of an experience. For them, experience is the key. And likewise, while they're ordering for a cab or they're ordering for a food delivery or they're watching, a movie show or digitally or doing anything digitally, for them, experience is the underpinning of their entire digital journey.
So, Sudipta, do you envisage a point where we perhaps will not need to go to the bank anymore? Do you think that even transactions like taking a loan can be done purely, via an app or online?
Very interesting question. And, behavior modification is a very, very important part of personal finance. And because of the situation that we went through over the past couple of months, when, people's movement was restricted, we see a very large movement towards digital, even people who never used digital offerings before. In fact, McKinsey did a study around the month of June, where they studied lots of customers in India, especially towards their usage behaviors towards banking. And 52% said that they will use a mobile app more than what they're doing now. 59% said that they will use more online payment options than they're doing right before COVID. And 37% of customers say that they will visit the branches less after things normalize. So that's actually a tectonic shift in customer behavior. And coming to a specific question, whether a customer can apply for a loan online. In fact, in ICICI Bank, we take pride in the fact that we probably in our personal loans team, we actually have probably the first fully digitized stack in the Indian industry, wherein you can apply for a loan online. Your KYC can be done online. You can sign the documents digitally online, and your disbursement is totally online. So every stack, which used to be physical before, where somebody used to come to you, take your photograph, take your KYC documents, etc. Everything is done digitally, including using our video KYC module. In fact, it is not only apply for a loan online, you can apply for a credit card online, you can do everything online. So actually, we do believe that we are at that particular cusp where largely your interactions with your financial services provider will move online, and you will rarely need to visit the branch, especially if there is some physical signature needed in some paper. In some case, you might need to visit the branch. Otherwise, especially us, and we do believe that the Indian industry, especially the Indian financial services industry, is fully prepared to offer complete online banking services to the customers.
What about the security aspect, Sudipta? Because I'm sure while listening to you, a lot of viewers may be, talking, wondering about that as well. So if you could clear the air on that too.
So there are two parts about this. The first part about this is when you are doing a lot of people have fear in doing transactions, especially transactions on credit and debit cards online, because they fear that there might be some fraud, etc. What we would like to assure our customers is that there is complete protection for our customers from any sort of fraud that might happen. The Reserve Bank of India very clearly states that if the customer disputes a transaction that the customer has not done, within a period of 7 days from the date of the transaction, the bank is liable to investigate that. And if the customer says that he or she has not done the transaction, the bank is liable to refund the transaction to the customer. So that protection has been laid out by the Reserve Bank of India, and all banks are duty bound to follow it. However, we always advise the customers to follow safe banking practices because unnecessary, irritation is also not welcome. For example, no bank ever sends a OTP and someone will call you and from the bank and say, please give me the OTP. No bank ever does that. So it always tell our customers, please do not give your OTPs, please do not share your passwords to anyone who calls. The bank will never call. No bank ever calls for OTP or password. Unfortunately, many customers fall prey to some of these phishing attacks, which we technically call phishing attacks, where fraudsters call and try to obtain confidential information to do their unauthorized banking transactions. But we also take care of such customers in case they have unwittingly fallen prey to those fraudsters. However, our advice to customers is that never give out anything confidential. The second thing is that doing a whole transaction online, applying for a document applying for a loan is perfectly safe. You can go online. We use fully secure websites where, the end-to-end transmissions are fully encrypted. If you upload any document, the document is fully encrypted. If someone comes to you on video KYC, no one can see that conversation. That conversation entire trail is fully encrypted, and that conversation recording is also stored in the bank server in a fully encrypted form, and no one else can have access to that. So I do believe that online banking is actually far more secure, if used prudently, is far more secure than physical banking, where you might lose a document or something might go amiss during the physical process. But in case of online banking, the process is seamless, the process is transparent, the process is secure, and it is very, very fast. So I think it checks all the boxes. And I do urge all the customers, people who are listening, to adopt online banking and safe banking practices more and more.
All right. Well, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the fact that, 2020 was a tough year for many people. Their credit scores had been ruined because of perhaps their inability to pay down loans, credit card bills, so on and so forth. So as we enter 2021, what steps do you recommend they can take to sort of rectify that score? What are the options that maybe an ICICI Bank is offering its customers?
So yes, we understand that the last year has been very, very tough on many people, and there have been people who have had financial difficulties. There are many people who have fallen behind their financial obligations to their financial institutions. My advice to all those people would be to reach out to these financial institutions and discuss transparently with the institutions as to what are the difficulties that they're facing. And then also discuss a payment plan. As you know, Reserve Bank of India has allowed initially Reserve Bank of India allowed moratorium, which was a great relief for many of these customers in distress. And as we saw economic activity coming back from the month of October, November, we do see that in the market, especially in terms of cash flow for many of the impacted customers, things have eased a bit. But still many customers remain in difficulty. So Reserve Bank of India has also allowed a one-time restructuring option for many of these customers. So the customers can opt for a restructuring option. However, they need to discuss that with their financial services provider and also provide some sort of evidence that genuinely they're in financial distress. And then the bank is free to give them a restructuring option. However, if the customer does not want to take restructuring, there are a lot of options, especially, for example, in credit cards. The customer can actually convert the balances into equated monthly installments. We offer equated monthly installments from 12 to 24 months to the customer, where if you have an outstanding and you think, if you're hypothetically, if your outstanding is 24,000 rupees and your monthly paying capacity is only 1,000 rupees, I'm doing a simplistic calculation. You can convert the 24,000 rupees into a 24 monthly EMI, wherein, your EMI is 1,000 rupees plus a little bit amount of interest every month. And you can discharge that over a period of 24 months. So actually, what was actually due right now can be spread over a period of 24 months. So between restructuring, between EMI programs, especially for credit cards, ICICI Bank is offering customers what we call a sort of runway to soft land and discharge their financial obligations according to their own capacity. And we are constantly in touch with the customers who are adversely impacted, and we are handholding them to get through this difficult period.
All right. Just as we wrap it up, the world's opening up. Do you envisage, what sort of trends do you envisage in cards, unsecured loan segments?
I do believe that the habit of doing online transactions for many customers, which have actually, and people say that whatever you do continuously for a period of 3 to 6 months becomes a habit. We do believe that this behavior of doing things online, especially transacting and buying things online, actually has become a habit for many of our customers. And we do believe that though there might be a slight drop, as things normalize even more, and some people might go back to the physical way of doing things, we do believe that the large majority of the people will keep on the online purchase behavior on. And the fact is that the trajectory of online spends to physical spends have been irrevocably altered, wherein, going forward, we will see online spends to be much more than physical spends. However, also one more thing is that because people have transacted a lot more on their credit and debit cards during COVID, we also do believe that, and also use UPI, we also do believe that the prevalence of digital spending or making digital transaction is actually going to stick, and we will see cash slowly coming down. Also towards loans, we have seen a lot of people applying for loans online during COVID. In fact, one of the interesting facts is that one of our highest issuance days on the Amazon card, which is completely digitally issued cards, was actually during a period of restriction. And so, which actually proves that customers have transitioned very well to applying for a loan online. Customers have transitioned very well to applying for a card online. And I do believe that as we emerge on the other side of this COVID, these behaviors will stick. And finally, India will probably break the physical banking habit and transition, like many advanced countries, to a largely online banking habit.
Well, Sudipta, it was a pleasure having you with us, and I'm sure that a lot of our viewers have taken home a lot of lessons from you, be it on banking, how to make the most use of, the services that banks like yours provide, and of course on how to ensure that they kickstart the new year with a good credit history, or at least, a guidance on how to attain a good credit history from here on. And on that note, we'll take a very short break, but when we return, we'll be touching upon the last aspect of money, and that is spending. Don't go anywhere.